What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talking Shit, episode 109. My name is Barrett Courtney. I'm one of your hosts, and here, joined with me, is one of my great co-hosts and even better friends, the Filipino chump, Max Romero. What's up, Max? How you doing today?
Doing good, Barrett?
Yeah.
All right.
Henry isn't here this week, which is sad. We miss Henry, but he is off in. He's traveling right now to Philadelphia. Why? No idea.
Yeah.
When did I find this out? Yesterday. So yeah, he's heading to Philadelphia. I hope he's having a lot of fun out there. So we just miss Henry. But anyway, sort of some housekeeping before we get into what the show's about and yada yada yada. I want to apologize for last week's episode. It was just a lot of shit I had to deal with. I'm sorry we only had one topic, but it was still a lengthy topic about No Man's Sky. It was about an hour, so you know we had what we had. So I'm sorry about like all the tech issues I had to subject to you, the audience, which bums me out. I'm sure bums you guys out, but it was still a good episode with Roger Picorni, Alex O'Neill, and Danny Juarez.
Where's the content, Barrett?
I'm trying to give it to the people.
Where's my day one podcast?
So yeah, I apologize, and I also apologize for the sort of back and forth of us being here and not being here and yada yada yada. Hopefully, we'll be sticking to a regular schedule of actually being here with the people of BGG more frequently and more consistently. Now it's just been a hectic last 4 weeks, so it happens.
Setting stuff up.
Exactly.
Could be hard.
Max, how's your week been? Or how your last 2 weeks, because we haven't seen you for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's very busy here and there, just trying to get some more hobbyist, like my own stuff in between.
Yeah,
stuff.
so like I saw like on Twitter, you can follow Max on Twitter at ASAP_Saki. You were starting to, you had just begun to go back to like drawing for just the sake of drawing. And for the love of it.
It's pretty fun because it's like I get to explore a little bit of stuff on my own, and I won't be taking it as like immense classes this semester. I won't be a full-time student, so it's pretty much like up to me to draw at this point. But
exactly.
there's some cool stuff, and hopefully via Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at mad_max343.
On Instagram.
I'll be posting stuff a little bit more consistently. So
okay.
we'll see that. How that turns
out. Max is really cool at character designs and whatnot. So you can follow him on Instagram. See a lot of like his past stuff. I really love the Two-Face model that you.
Oh yeah,
it's so fucking cool. I remember that was like one of the first conversations we had. You're like, hey, like I made this thing because we'd we just started working with each other and we didn't know each other that well. And when you showed me that, I was like, this guy's a fucking nerd. I like that. I fucking like that. And now look at us. We're on a podcast together. It's fucking crazy.
It got that. I say that sculpture has got me pretty far, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Yes.
But yeah, you had briefly talking about I'm into like more the Batman comics, and I was just like, so you like the Batman comics, huh?
And that's how you find your way to my heart is Batman and
generally nerdy stuff.
Yeah, nerdy shit like that. But you've been all right.
That's for the most part.
My week has not been too bad. Just been working a lot.
Very busy as well.
Yeah, and sort of not just our day jobs that I've been working at. I've also been working on a new show for BGG. It's a special project that I'm excited to talk about in the next coming months, maybe coming weeks, depends on whether this first episode works out and if I'm ready to release it. It all just depends, right? My first day on working on it was yesterday. I spent 5 hours writing. And it's like it's a 5-page sort of thing right now, and it's I've got to just edit that. I'm gonna get some feedback from some people who are better writers than myself, so it all depends on how this first episode works out. So something special. I'm excited to share it with you guys when I can.
Something new.
I'll probably do an announcement video for it, so you don't just get this random first episode. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Where did this come from?
So yeah, just look out for that in the next month or so. Anyway, another piece of housekeeping. Before we get into the show, we are now officially on motherfucking Stitcher.
Nice.
And Stitcher is a podcast platform, if you didn't know. And I've got a little something here. I'm gonna shout out Stitcher every episode until they actually sponsor us and like have us read fucking like advertisements and shit.
Like official advertisements.
Yeah, official advertisements. But until then, I'm just gonna read unpaid advertisements until they do that. Stitcher It's a radio on demand. It's an app. It's a website, Stitcher.com, and you can also look up Stitcher for radio on or on your fucking mobile fucking in-store app purchases or whatever. You can download the free app today. You can listen anytime, anywhere. Stitcher is an award-winning free app that lets you listen to all your favorite shows, plus discover more than 40,000 news, entertainment, and sports shows, much like Talking Shit. You can create custom playlists with all of the shows that you find. You can rate and review Talking Shit on Stitcher, which, that helps a lot. So if you do that, that's fucking cool. That, shows us numbers, that shows them numbers. And the more we get numbers there, the more they want to support us.
We like numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just being like, having my childlike tendencies. I just like numbers going up and stuff. I'm like, ooh.
The stocks.
It's available on iOS, Android, Nook, and Kindle Fire. It's in over 4 million car dashboards. So if you're driving your Ubers and your Lyfts around and you're just driving around and you're not getting any pickups, you can fucking, listen to our show on Stitcher. It's pretty fucking cool. It's on demand and on the go. There's no downloading, no syncing, and no wasted memory that is involved with Stitcher. You can stream your favorite podcasts. And if you don't have Stitcher, you can download it free today at Stitcher.com or in the App Store right there. Go to Stitcher.com for that fucking dope shit. Not paid for. They don't support us yet.
Whoa.
But one day they will, maybe.
We'll keep shouting out until they do.
iTunes right now has not gotten back to me, but we're working on it. We're fucking working on it. So
it's a process.
It is a process. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is Talking Shit. It's BGG's weekly podcast where we bring in random topics of discussion. We talk some shit about those topics. If you like that, head on over to patreon.com/BGG. Give us $1 a month, and you get every full episode early in audio form, the entire episode, before it goes out on YouTube, where the episode is broken up topic by topic Monday through Thursday, and before the entire audio version of the episode is available on SoundCloud, on RSS feed, and on Stitcher. So there you go. Go to Patreon.
Please.
Do it. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Or don't. I don't
It's easy.
It's
easy.
It is easy. Be a friend. Be a supporter. Like Quentin Hoffman. I'm going to shout out Quentin Hoffman one more time this month.
Oh, as much as you want.
He is at the $5 tier, so he gets a shout out every month. He gets one shout out every month, but, as you learned a couple weeks ago, I forgot to shout him out last month, so I had to shout him out twice. And this is actually a third time. I'm doing an extra time, Quentin Hoffman. I fucking love you. And the reason I'm doing this is because Quentin Hoffman has a motherfucking show that I did not know about. I just knew this guy as someone I met at Kinda Funny Live 2. God, I gotta fucking look at. I gotta look up what his thing is called. He hosts a show called Break from Reality, which you can find on SoundCloud, where he hosts a show with, I think, his brother? I don't know. I listened to an episode, and it's pretty good, so check that out. I just wanted to give one shout-out because I did not know that Quentin Hoffman was the host of a podcast, so go check that out. I'm going to start doing that every month now, Quentin. There you go. Anyway, let's get into the fucking topics.
All right.
So last time we saw each other recording this podcast in this room, Suicide Squad had not come out yet.
Oh yeah, you're right. We're over the hill.
We're over the hill of the Suicide Squad movie. And did you see it?
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
I will say not nearly as terrible and bad as the critics made it out to be. There were some jarring errors that I personally saw.
Yes.
I try to generally ignore reviews so I can form my own opinion of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Most impression I had was from what my friends told me, and I'll talk about what was solid. I liked Diablo as the slight spoilers, by the way. I like Diablo as the unexpected highlight. It was kind of cool because I thought he was just going to be glossed over like poor Katana, Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, they were definitely teasing sort of his crescendo throughout the entire movie. So I felt that he was going to have like a bigger moment.
Yeah, and I did like Will Smith. And honestly, from the get-go, I was just like, Will Smith as Deadshot, that's interesting and not bad, as in terms of Deadshot's kind of a small role for someone
exactly. And they gave Deadshot a lot of more depth that he's never usually given, so I thought that was cool. There were a lot of cool things, and I think this story definitely is more easier to follow than Batman v Superman, because like, what the fuck is anyone's motivation? At least there was motivation. The villain still sort of sucked.
In terms of like, I don't know, screen time.
Yeah, well, not even screen time. It was just like it made no sense. Like, that level of villain does not make sense for such a small sort of team. It should have been a little more realistic and not in this weird magic. Like, this is how they introduce magic in the DC universe, and it was like that is a
Through
weird
a villain movie.
That was a weird movie choice to introduce magic. Like Marvel has waited until fucking Doctor Strange, which hasn't even come out. It's coming out later.
A little bit of Daredevil,
and that's fucking like what 15 movies in at this point.
Yeah,
like we're finally getting magic in the Marvel universe, and like DC was just like fuck it, third movie we're fucking putting in magic, and that's how they decided to
definitely a
introduce
weird choice too, because they're just like well, between or in terms of use of magic, it can go like connotatively with Wonder Woman or Aquaman, but instead we're just gonna do it with Suicide Squad.
Exactly. So I there were definitely weird choices for this movie. It's not a great movie. I had way more fun than I did with Batman v Superman.
Yeah, I liked it better than Batman v Superman.
That's sort of, and you can watch our full review on youtube.com/BetaZonaGamers, where I review the movie with special guest Alicia Shimoda. And she, you get sort of the take of a DC fan and someone who just went to go see the movie. So yeah, you can get full thoughts there. But you had fun.
Yeah, I was just like, all right. There were parts where it was like pretty entertaining, but then I think what also threw me off was the really weird score transitions.
Oh yeah,
they'd be very obvious.
Like the music, the soundtrack itself was really cool.
I like the soundtrack. Yeah.
It had a lot of editing problems. It had a lot of like audio, like editing problems, just like cutting from different scenes. Like scene transitions were really weird. There's a lot wrong with this movie.
Very choppy.
So my topic isn't, whether Suicide Squad is good. My topic is really, can the DC movie universe exist anymore after this point? Because let's see, Man of Steel, not very good. Batman v Superman, utter trash. No matter what Sean Pitt says, I know he's like Batman v Superman is better than The Dark Knight Rises. That is a fucking lie. He's lying to you. No, he's not. He honestly thinks that, and I don't understand why. And then Suicide Squad sort of just existed. It was fun, but it was forgettable. And so my topic is like whether or not it's worth DC still pushing this universe, and sort of what your thoughts are about where they should go in the future. Whether they should do another reboot, or maybe they should just try to fix it as best as they possibly can, even if that's possible at all at this point.
If there's anything left to be able to fix with.
Exactly. So I just sort of want to get our thoughts out there of like what the DC movie universe could do. I was talking to a friend recently. I will not name him on the show, but he was talking about how what they should really do at this point is just do Kingdom Come. And then how that one ends, and then just leave it for a couple of years and just be like, okay, now we're doing a new DC universe thing, so he really thinks that they should do another reboot, but give it a little time. And I honestly think the same thing. Like, you have ran over so many fucking cool points in this movie, in this universe, that you can't go back to, you can't fix
it'd be without
having to reboot, right? You've got you do The Dark Knight Returns, which is the second movie, which is a movie that should not be one of the first. This should be this should be phase 3, right? This should be Marvel is in their phase 3 right now. They're leading to Infinity War.
Where they had Civil War.
And this should be the third. The Dark Knight Returns should be the third or fourth Batman movie, right? And it's the first Batman movie. And so you skip all of this great, I know people hate the fucking origin stories of superheroes just in general at this point. And even with this being sort of the Batman v Superman being The Dark Knight Returns, it still had that origin story.
Yeah, it was sprinkled throughout the movie,
exactly.
Just as a reminder, just hey,
and you don't
he's
have
an orphan.
And you don't have to do the whole basic, or you don't have to do the whole watching Bruce's parents get shot and
Joe Chill and the pearl necklace,
Joe Chill and fucking going out of the country to be trained and whatnot. You don't have to focus on those main things. And a great example is 0 Year by Scott Snyder. And 0 Year is so fucking cool, and I wish that we could get that in a fucking Batman movie. Let's make that a fucking Batman movie, okay? Where 0 Year basically reimagines Year One, and it goes through if you don't know, Scott Snyder sort of came up with this idea because although he liked Year One, Year One was written by I forget his fucking name.
Was it Jeff Loeb? Was it Jeff?
I don't.
No, that's Long Halloween.
Yeah, Jeff Loeb is Long Halloween. I forget. Alan Moore, maybe. But anyway, his whole idea was like Year One was written by someone who was born in Chicago and raised in Chicago and moved to New York in a time where, New York was sort of shady with all crime and stuff. And he got mugged the first day he lived in New York. And Scott Snyder's sort of take on Zero Year, his origins of Batman, is Zero Year is being written by someone who lived in New York when 9/11 happened and sort of this new age of terrorism, and that you definitely see that throughout all of Zero Year. And I think that that would be a really cool take to introduce Batman into a new DC universe. And so I honestly think that we should reboot the DC universe at this point and maybe start off with Batman. I hate.
He's a staple.
This is the problem. A lot of people because I don't want DC to do exactly what Marvel is doing with and I say that in the aspect of tone and how the heroes are treated and whatnot. I don't think they should try to hit that tone of lightheartedness all the time. Yeah, you can still have sort of the darker, fucked up parts of the DC universe, but still have it good. And I think a lot of people are getting lost in that of oh, the DC movies are trying to be too serious now, and that's why they suck. No, it's not why they suck. They suck because they're being helmed by Zack Snyder, who doesn't know how to make a coherent fucking plot. And that's why these movies are bad, not because they're toned down and they're more serious. It's because he doesn't know how to tell a toned down serious movie that makes fucking sense.
I will say too, Goyer needs to learn how to write people a little bit better too.
David Goyer?
Yes, Goyer, yeah. It's just because I know he had some oversight on the plot and kind of world building of the Dark Knight series, but that was plot and world building, which was done incredibly well. When it comes to writing people, they're a little robotic.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was trying to make them a little bit more relatable towards each other in Batman versus Superman, but it was still really weird in juxtaposition.
So I that's what I think the problem is not the tone of these movies, and people are just getting mixed up because the consistent tone in these movies is dark, gritty, realistic, even though there's magic and Suicide Squad and all this stuff, and that's not the problem. The problem is the disconnect of being able to tell a good story that can pay off and has great moments. Batman v Superman has great moments. Yeah, it really does. The death of Superman, really fucking cool. The part where I remember seeing that with Ricky, and the part where he's fucking in space, he's all fucking
shriveled.
Skinny. Yeah, and that is legit a frame in The Dark Knight Returns, and it's so fucking cool. I was I can't believe I'm watching this right now. But they didn't earn it. They didn't know how to that was a great moment, but they didn't know how to get to that moment well and have that moment pay off. That moment did not pay off for the rest of the movie. It did not make the rest of the movie worth it. So that's the main problem with this series, and I think that's why we need to reboot the DC movie universe and have someone else fucking helm it together, not Zack Snyder, who did 300. The fucking one where it ends in a lobotomy.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. Watchmen. Watchmen's okay.
I actually did enjoy Watchmen.
Yeah, Watchmen's okay, but it's still it doesn't capture how great the comic book is.
Yeah, it was a little teetery.
And the DC movie universe deserves someone better than Zack Snyder, and that's all. That's really my main gripe with it. And I think if you just stop doing them, I think. Come out with Wonder Woman. Stop Justice League now. Stop filming. Stop doing the production on Justice League now before you waste a shit ton of money like you have these other movies, and just leave it alone. And Colin Moriarty from Kind of Funny has always argued Christopher Nolan should be the one helming these movies, and I don't agree with that. I think Christopher Nolan needs to do whatever he wants to do. You can't tie him down, and if you bring Nolan back to do these, his heart is not going to be in it,
and so they're not going to be good in product.
Yeah, and not to say they're not going to be good, but it's not going to have that.
It's not going to
care that he has for his Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah,
and I honestly don't know who should be the one to like helm this universe, and I don't think it should just be one person, right? And that's what Marvel is doing so well. Is like, yeah, at first it was sort of Whedon, but Whedon left. And Whedon isn't doing that anymore. Now it's the Russo twins or Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers, which I actually do like the work of the Russo bros.
Oh yeah, they're fucking amazing. They're really, really good, and even their work before the Marvel stuff is fucking awesome. And the reason that Marvel Universe works so well is and there have been a lot of complaints of like, oh, directors don't stay on and yada yada yada. But
they've had time for
it's all about the way you make art is it's collaborative, right? And that's something I've learned throughout my time of being in theater and working on film productions and whatnot. It's a collaborative experience, and these movies so far for the DC movies don't feel like a collaborative experience. It feels like Snyderfest, first draft, fuck it, let's shoot it down the tunnel. And I honestly think if we were to reboot the DC movie universe, it needs to be like, okay, this director is attached to this series. This director is attached to, like, let's have one director do the first couple Batman movies, and like let's have this one director do the first couple Wonder Woman movies, and let's have like a different director for every Superman movie,
and then somebody new for Justice League,
and then a different director for each Justice League movie. And this is like where I'm coming at with the whole DC shouldn't try to hit what Marvel is doing in the sense of tone, but they should try to hit the structure that Marvel has built
in direction.
And phase 1 of Marvel is fucking ingenious. Not everybody loves every movie that came out, but it's done so well where it knows how to build up the hype for the Avengers, and they did not know how to do that for Justice League. They did not know how to build up the hype for that movie because this is what Marvel did. Start off with Iron Man, the least cared about. He's like before Iron Man the movie came out, he was a C-list superhero.
Nobody knew who Iron Man was, although he did have his highlight in Civil War, but that was about it.
Yeah, and that was really like
the comic Civil War.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say like the general public, right, did not give a shit about Iron Man. But then that movie came out and he was a fucking phenomenon. And so you start off with Iron Man, and then you go Incredible Hulk, which it was okay. It's just an example of we need to stop doing Hulk movies. Yeah. And then ignoring Hulk, you go from Iron Man to Iron Man 2,
Thor,
and then Thor, and then
Captain
America, and then
I think you had Avengers right after.
And then Avengers, and so you give each character their own time to develop on their own, and then when the Avengers comes together, that's when you care about it. And so when you see Batman and Superman come together at the end of Batman v Superman, you don't give a shit because they've only known each other for this movie, and you've only gotten to connect with Batman for this one movie, and to see them come to
pushed.
It felt pushed and it felt forced, and you need to give these characters time to develop on their own. So when they come together for different and like want to fight with each other and like help each other for their own different reasons and motivations, it fucking makes it worth it, and it pays off so well. And I think that's what DC really needs to look at for Marvel, is to not play catch up, because that's what they've been doing. Not to play like, oh, we need to get all these movies out to play. We need to get as many movies out in the next fucking 5 years as Marvel has in the last 8.
Yeah, it feels like they're like really trying too hard to close the gap between when their Justice League movie will ultimately come out and Infinity War.
Yeah, and it's just weird to have a lot of these arcs already done that should have been arcs that like wrap up some of these heroes like stories. So the death of Superman should have been like the 3rd or 4th fucking Superman movie. The Dark Knight Returns should have been like the fucking 4th or 5th Batman movie. And it just they're I don't know. Give me. I've been talking a lot. What do you think DC should really do, and what they should be fixing?
You're the DC aficionado here, so just like Barrett has the points. So
I love Batman. I love Batman. That's really it.
But you're entirely right. It's really weird that they start out this new DC universe. It's really weird how they start out the first Batman movie being the retired Batman.
Yeah, right.
It's very strange.
And not even the retired, and he wasn't even retired, and that's why like this movie is barely based off the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Returns.
just like basically the fight between him and Superman was most of the Dark Knight Returns.
And they didn't even have Green Arrow in that fight, and Green Arrow was so fucking cool in that fight.
Yeah, he was instrumental, and no, it was just Batman doing all the stuff. And then you would have to think too with like how it was kind of forced and a bit pushed of like Batman and Superman working together after they had just fought each other.
Why'd you say that name? Where's the say Martha? Martha's a common fucking name, you piece of shit.
Oh. Sorry, it's triggered. But it's just like
triggered.
If Doomsday was never there, it would have been so weird. Just like afterwards, just like Lex did this. Yeah, let's go after him.
Yeah, exactly.
But didn't you just like shove kryptonite up my ass? Yeah.
Yeah, and oh fuck. I'm at a loss for words right now, just because I'm just pure emotion right now with how angry I am at how this universe has been treated.
I think what they kind of do wrong. I mean, I know we shouldn't keep comparing it to Marvel, but I mean, it's
hard not to.
As a superhero, like a cinematic superhero genre, the reason why is because Marvel's done a lot of things wrong, but it's done a lot of things right.
And it's done more things right than it has wrong.
Yeah, and one of the things it does right is how it adjusts its source material. It still knows how to keep stuff loyal to the fans while making it like cinematically,
but also making it new and interesting. Yeah, right? And like that, and that's the great thing, and that's why Winter Soldier is the best because of that huge twist where Shield is Hydra.
Hydra is the Splinter Cell.
That is the biggest fucking twist, and no comic book fan would have saw that coming.
I definitely didn't.
Yeah, and I'm not as well versed with like Captain America and Shield when it comes to Marvel comics, but I don't believe that's been done before in the Marvel comics. Correct me, comment below. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe like there have been no big stories that come to mind where that's been done. And that's why it was so fucking cool.
Post 2000, there wasn't really. You're right though. There wasn't any big story arcs where it was just like, oh, there's bunch of Shield is actually like Splinter or is like a huge Hydra Splinter Cell. There have been like little like, oh, I'm an undercover Hydra agent kind of.
Yeah, that shit happens all the time though. So that's not surprising.
I went into Winter Soldier totally smug. I'm just like, I know it's Bucky. I know who was all behind. And then I was just like, the Shield twist was good.
It was so much more than just Bucky.
But you're right. They didn't have to sacrifice any integrity or development of any characters for like a twist that good. So where they have to kind of warp that for stuff like in Batman versus Superman was kind of weird.
Honestly, like I'm just thinking about it. Like reboot. Like I honestly think they just stop production now, and WB should really just reboot the series, the entire universe, and structure it like the Marvel movies. And again, not hit the tone. But the reason why Phase 1 is for the Marvel universe is so fucking ingenious is because you have like all of these like separate characters. You have Iron Man, and then the next movie besides Hulk that you do is Thor, which is far enough away from Iron Man that you don't have any forced like crossover in either of those movies. And then you do Captain America, which is like it goes back in time to tell that story. So that's really separated. So you have like it gives enough like separation with all of these characters, and then it makes sense at like you get little teases at the end of every single one of them, right? Like at the end of Iron Man, which was fucking awesome. The ending of Iron Man where fucking Samuel L. Jackson walks in and he's like, you think you're the only fucking superhero, and it's just so fucking cool. And Iron Man is legit like one of the best superhero movies of all time. But just because of like the excitement it made and just like how fucking good that movie was. My dad, who does not like to go see like a lot of movies nowadays, like in theaters.
Did you love Iron Man?
Like I took him to go see Iron Man. He's like, that was actually pretty cool. And he never says that. Like that was like the one moment where I was like, my dad likes something I like.
There was.
But like I honestly think like the way DC should structure like their Phase 1 if they decide to like do a reboot and like lead up to Justice League is start off with Batman, because Batman puts asses in seats, because Batman is the #1 superhero around the world right now. It's just how it is. It goes Batman, Spider-Man.
That was Spider-Man.
I don't know. The third person. It should go Batman, and then the next movie should be Wonder Woman. And because Wonder Woman is so far away from Batman, there's no force interconnection there.
It's a nice diversity of backdrop too.
Exactly.
Because and like although I know she's already getting the movie's already getting a lot of heat for being like Captain America, it's like, well, yeah, she goes back in time because she's a fucking
she's a fucking goddess.
She's daughter of Zeus.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoilers.
They're like fucking, like, if you don't know that fucking Wonder Woman is the guy, like the daughter of Zeus, like you're just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's like I know why they did that too. It's like she's an answer to Thor, and I think she could still kick Thor's ass.
Oh yeah, and like I think like that would be a great transition. You do Batman, and then you do Wonder Woman, and then you do not Superman yet.
Maybe the Flash.
The Flash, probably.
And
I would actually honestly want to keep that actor that we have for Ezra Miller.
Keep Ezra Miller. And
get someone to write better dialogue for him.
Just do Flashpoint at the end of this DC universe so everything starts over.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they should really do right now with Batman v Superman and like Suicide Squad. The fucking end of Justice League should be Flashpoint. And so they could just like reboot. That's like their natural way to like reboot the entire universe.
Let's make it really convoluted, and he's just chasing Professor Zoom in the fucking Speed Force, and then he appears in the WB like show The Flash. And he's just with Grant Gustin, and they're just like, no, time's too convoluted.
Grant Gustin will always be the superior Flash.
The show was actually really good.
So good. They're doing Flashpoint for season 3. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I only heard it was going to be like a couple episodes though. But I mean, I guess that's the appropriate amount of time.
Yeah, you don't want to spend too much time with that. Sort of like how they spend too much time with Zoom. I like season 2. They spend way too much time with Zoom.
There was a lot of Zoom.
And then like the payoffs for Zoom was not that great. Shit, what was I getting at? So yeah, you do Wonder Woman, then you do Flash, because again, these characters are so like separated. There's no reason for them to be interconnecting right now. And then you also give them their own movies before you fucking interconnect them to build their own universe.
So you don't need establishment
build up
of origin.
Batman and his villains. You build up Wonder Woman and her villains and her allies and shit. You build up the Flash and all of like his weird shit, and then you do Aquaman, and then you do Superman, because Superman will be the one thing that ties them all together. And that was their first mistake. That was their first mistake with doing this DC universe. And that was like the one thing, like I even said before Man of Steel came out, I was like, why are they doing Superman first? Because Superman is all of these characters existed separately, and they've existed for years without ever crossing paths. And the only reason they do that is because Superman fucking lands, and he becomes this big possible threat, but also possible ally. And that's what like brings them all together is Superman.
Batman needs contingency, and that contingency is partially the Justice League, but also a reason for Superman to like put his powers to good use.
Exactly. And that's why like you do Superman last, and then you do the Justice League, and then you do like the falling out of the Justice League, and Batman has to retire, and then he returns, and you do the Dark Knight Returns, and then you do the death of Superman, and that's where you should end the fucking DC movie universe, is the death of Superman.
First Justice League movie villain has to be Starro.
Yeah, you don't fucking start off with Doomsday. Like, even me knowing as little as possible about Superman, not really giving a shit about Superman, when I saw Doomsday in that fucking trailer, I was like, all right, Superman's gonna fucking die.
Yeah, because everyone knows the iconic death of Superman.
Exactly, and that's where you fuck up. You have all these cool moments that you should be building up to, but you just fucking
popping in your face. It's just like, hey, this movie's got Doomsday too, as well as Dark Knight Returns references. That was another problem I kind of had with Batman versus Superman was, in comparison to Marvel, the way it draws from source material is it can't find a fine line between keeping loyal to the fans, new and innovative stuff, like Jimmy Olsen as an FBI.
Fuck that.
Yeah, but it drew from a little too much at the same time. Like it had Dark Knight Returns, which would have been
but it barely had Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, barely.
It was trying so hard to like hit those notes of like, oh, I'm Batman, I don't like Superman, and Batman not liking Superman like made sense in the context of that movie. But then like Superman's like, oh, Batman branded like a bad guy, and the other bad guys killed that bad guy, so it's Batman's fault. It was like, that's bullshit. The reason in the Dark Knight Returns why that fucking motivation is so fucking good is because Batman, honestly, like, he's a little annoyed that Superman's working for the government, but he's honestly only doing his own thing. He's really just coming back to protect Gotham.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, like the fucking Joker dies, it's like a new wave of like villains that he has to deal with. And Superman, the only reason Superman goes to fight Batman is because the government tells him to. And that is like really fucking cool because it's this whole like story about sort of the anti-hero and going against the establishment, and the establishment being Superman, and them not even like wanting to fight each other, them still being friends. And you know, Batman dies at the end of that fucking fight. Spoilers for an amazing comic that you should have read by now. And even when Superman knows, even when Superman knows that Batman's alive, he doesn't care. He's actually happy. He winks to that girl Robin. He's like, everything is okay. Kelly. He's really alive. And that was such the cool thing. Like they had to fight because of their allegiances, but they didn't want to because at the core they were still fucking friends. And that was like the great conflict in that fight. The fucking conflict between each other and Batman v Superman. Just fucking, it's not exciting. It's not something new, and it's just
you kill that little girl's parents,
and like the reason they come friends is because both of their mothers are named fucking Martha. And it's like I know that's a fucking point that we will beat to the fucking ground for the next 10 years, but it's bullshit. Anyway, like that's sort of like just the thought. Like I know I wrote something on the BCG blog a couple months ago about like DC should really look at Marvel. Just to look at like how Marvel is structuring their films
as direction, as diversity,
exactly,
and film setting.
And that's what DC should be looking at. And I think DC is trying really hard not to look at how Marvel is successfully doing these things. And so that just it bums me out. But do you have any cool ideas for like what like arcs would you like to see if we got to reboot DC movies? What like story arcs would you like to see in movies? I obviously want Zero Year, and then the other Batman movie I would want would be Court of Owls.
That would be. Oh, I'm like I know we're like Court of Owls live action is like a little far fetched at this point, but
no,
if
it's not.
Really,
they're doing it in Gotham.
Oh yeah, that's
which
right.
Really bums me out because the Court of Owls story arc deserves better than it
deserves
Gotham.
Batman, not young Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, but. Whatever. Well, that'll be a topic for another day. Is like the weird convolution of Gotham's characters.
Yeah.
But see, what I loved about a lot of the Marvel movies is in their origin, in their establishment of character and story, what defines them a lot as much as themselves and their actions are their villains as well. Because in a lot of ways, the villains are outcomes of each respective hero.
Yeah, and that's the great thing. Like, that's a great point. Like Iron Man. Like the first villain in Iron Man
Ironmonger.
Ironmonger, and he is sort of each of these villains are foils, and like a lot of these villains hit close to home. Ironmonger,
Abomination for the Hulk.
Again, Hulk wasn't great.
I like Tim Roth though.
Oh yeah. Ironmonger was a foil to Iron Man because Tony Stark could easily become that. He could easily become
the corrupt business leader.
Jebediah. The dude from The Big Lebowski. I remember when I went to go see that with my dad, and I had not made that connection that was the dude, and my dad like leaned over to me. He's like, "Dude, that's so undude like, dude." And I like looked at him. I was like, "Holy shit, that's The Big Lebowski." And so like you have all these like villains that hit close to home, and that's why they're done so well. And I honestly think that's why like a lot of these heroes for the DC movie universe should have their own movies, so they have sort of motivations that push them to wanting to do the greater good, right? The first Batman villain, even though I sort of want Zero Year and Riddler is a weird choice for the first villain to show like the true motivations of Batman. I think that could still work, but also like I don't think like a lot of people complain about Zod. Right, for Superman, but I honestly think that made sense as like Superman's first villain being Zod, because that's someone that came close from home. It's someone who wanted his home to live and to live well, and he comes to Earth to try to establish a new home for the Kryptonians, and I think that's really cool. But it's just they did not write it well, and I don't know fucking anything about Aquaman. Fucking,
I want Black Manta.
Is that Aquaman?
Supposedly that's going to be the villain for the Aquaman movie, but I just love Black Manta for the ridiculous big helmet.
Oh yeah, he looks so fucking cool. He looks so dumb, but he looks so cool.
No, he's one of my favorite DC villains because he started off as like somewhat of a joke, and then he had like a lot of serious backup to it, kind of like Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, sorry, I totally like.
Oh no, it's fine. But
ripped off your point,
but like that. No, to continue off with like Wonder Woman, you could have Ares, somebody from the very establishment of like the pantheon of Greek gods.
Yeah.
Or not? No, it wouldn't be. Oh wait. Yeah, it's Greek. Mars is Roman.
Yes.
God of War. But like Ares being like, oh, I'm the god of war. I fuel off a conflict, and then you could have Wonder Woman like trying to go for a point of peace with whatever warring faction they're going with.
And like because she's like he's the god of war, and she fights in a lot of wars. It's sort of her, like that would be a really cool arc of her learning that fighting is not always the answer. And that's a fucking arc that Thor learned.
Yeah.
And it's
and like
Thor is so underrated. I give a lot of shit to Thor personally, but that movie is seriously so good. It's okay. There's a lot of cool development, I would say, in that movie.
It could go without Kat Dennings though.
Oh yeah. I mean, but yeah, it's just like the reason Batman v Superman it just doesn't click is because you don't understand a lot of where these people are coming from. And that's why the Avengers work so well, is because you had time with each of these characters, excluding you got to see a little bit of Black Widow and Iron Man 2, but like with the
it was like a kind of like not a cameo.
Hawkeye.
You own Hawkeye and Hulk.
Yeah,
or not Hulk,
no,
Thor. Yeah, that's right.
Like you got like little moments, but for the main guys, the core group, you understood like their motivations and why they want to do these things.
Yeah,
and, like in Batman v Superman, you're introduced to fucking Batman when he's like fucking 45 years old, and he's already like an established person in this universe.
Dead,
and you don't get to live that. You don't get to go through his experiences. You don't get to see Jason Todd get the shit kicked out of by Joker and get killed by Joker. That's already an established story in that universe, and we didn't get to see it.
If that suit even belonged to Jason Todd, it's still speculative at this point, isn't it?
It's fucking Jason Todd. Come on. It's fucking... shut the fuck up.
They don't want to twist it?
Someone was asking me, he's like... or no, Alyssa was actually asking me. She's like, could this Joker possibly still be Jason Todd? Because there's a lot of that speculation. And the one proof that I have is that in Suicide Squad, that it's not Jason Todd, is that in Suicide Squad, you see the origin of Harley.
Yeah.
And that's that same Joker. And Harley would not fall in love with a fake-ass Joker like Jason Todd. She would only fall in love with the true Joker.
She wants Jack Napier.
Yeah, exactly. No, fuck you, Jack Napier. Batman 89 was not good. It was okay. But she would only truly fall in love with that like true origin Joker.
Genuine Joker.
And any fake ass Joker after that, she would not really fall in love with.
Good point.
And that's sort of the trouble I have with Batman Arkham Knight is like these like sort of fake Jokers coming back, and she's like she wants them. I was like, Harley would not be down with that.
No, she wants
Harley
OG
would straight
Joker.
up Harley would straight up kill those people.
Yeah.
So that part never made
imposters.
sense with Arkham Knight. But anyway, I don't know. We've just been ranting about how the DC movies have been
Villain
sucking.
establishment.
But I don't want to be like DC movies are trash and they just fucking I just sort of want us to
there's material.
There is material and there are cool moments, and I want better for it.
And there's ways to work them into like a cinematic experience that isn't so jumbled.
Exactly. And that's a key word right there, and that's a good word, is jumbled. These movies feel so jumbled, and that's the big problem with them right now. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about that because we're so passionate about comics.
Yes.
We're neither like I'm neither a Marvel or a DC fanboy. Like I love Batman, I love Spider-Man. Like those are probably my two favorite superheroes of all time. And not because of like movies or anything. Like
you grew up with
a little bit of movies, mainly.
Oh, the
for
movies
Batman.
helped. Yeah.
But for Spider-Man, the reason I fell in love with Spider-Man was like Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Ultimate Spider-Man is so fucking good. Go read that series up until the Clone Saga, and then
yeah. Oh, with Carnage, and was that the one when Gwen Stacy comes back?
When she comes back, yeah.
Yeah. No, Carnage was their way of retconning that shit. They're like, he only feasts on clones. They're all dead now.
Yeah. So just Ultimate Spider-Man started off so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I just wanted to look at it and not be like, oh, DC sucks and yada yada yada. I want there to be care.
Yeah.
For those movies, because I want to see them succeed. Like, I love how successful Marvel has been. I love, even though a lot of those movies, not a lot, but a good portion of those movies aren't great, I still enjoy and love all of them. And so far, it sucks that like every single DC movie so far, with the exception of Suicide Squad, I've not been able to enjoy. Like, I enjoyed Suicide Squad. It's still a bad movie, but
more so than like Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
so. I'm the same way. I'm not exclusively DC or Marvel. I love Marvel and DC. My favorite characters, Kyle Rayner and Nova. I also hate Marvel and DC for killing them off so unceremoniously, but yeah.
Did you ever hear that rumor that Daniel Radcliffe was supposed to be introduced as Nova at one point?
No, I heard that, and that Zac Efron was also supposed to be.
Oh my god, dude, how fucking rad it would be for Daniel Radcliffe to come back, like, because he's been in some movies, but he hasn't been in anything big, and it would be so cool to like have him play Nova.
That'd be really interesting.
There's rumors that they're supposed to. That apparently they're introducing who Nova is in Guardians 2.
Oh, okay. So
because the character who
the character who starts off his origin is played by John C. Reilly, Roman Day,
who's in the first Guardians.
And so I'm guessing that like maybe at some point in the movie, well, they said there were going to be no Infinity Gems because
there's going to be no Infinity Gems in the second one, and apparently they're not going to Earth at all. And that's the problem, because how Nova starts is
on Earth. Richard Rider is on Earth, but they might adapt it because they're pushing Sam Alexander so hard, and they just might adapt it to where Sam Alexander's already in space. Going off a Nova tangent, what I thought would happen is Thanos goes and gets the purple gem, destroys all of Xandar, Roman Day escapes to Earth. But I don't know. We'll see. But it's interesting. I would love to see.
I can't wait.
I would love to see Richard Rider.
I know this totally turned into fucking like
Nova
nerding
Corps.
out Nova Corps shit. But
I just hate how the Nova Corps can fly on their own. That's a topic for a different day. But one last thing regarding DC, and it's not DC needs to do this better. It's more of a what would you like to see. Speaking of Nova Corps, is if they were to redo Green Lantern, would you want his first villain to be space oriented?
Now here's the cool thing, and this is sort of like makes me think of like maybe I don't want DC to reboot just because like I think there could be a future. Like I am excited for Wonder Woman. I am excited for Justice League, and I think like there is still possibly time for them to like I would rather them do a reboot, but there is possibly time for them to fix it and to make me care finally about these characters. And one of those big factors is Green Lantern, because I'm not a huge Green Lantern person, but I've always wanted to get into him. And like I think the idea of Green Lantern having his first villain be what's the main villain?
That guy with a giant head from the first.
No, the guy in the yellow suit.
Oh, Sinestro.
Sinestro. I think him being the first villain is possibly a mistake because he is the most.
He's
iconic.
a build-up. He used to be a Green Lantern. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like you introduced the idea of Sinestro in the first one, like he's still like a lantern and all of this stuff, and then in the second Green Lantern movie, that's when he turns, and that's when he becomes the.
And
big
he's just
villain.
like fear through order through fear.
Exactly. So I honestly don't know because I'm not as well versed in Green Lantern. I don't know if. I honestly think it shouldn't be Sinestro in the first movie. But
no, he could be there.
He can be there, but I don't know if it should still be like a space villain or if it should go back to Earth or whatever.
I don't know if like he should even go into space for most of the movie, anyways. Because it'd be good if they spent the like beginning part or most of the movie kind of like him and his own view on humanity and why, and like he demonstrates why
not
Earth is
even
so
be
important.
introduced, like him fucking around with this with the ring, and not even being introduced to the
like the
lanterns,
yeah, and maybe until the very end.
Exactly, that would be really cool. Ooh.
I thought it'd be cool, like maybe you
we should be on a writing team for fucking Green
Lantern.
Right? High five. No, give me some love there.
Warner Bros. I hope you're listening. But I thought it'd be cool. Like you could still have a space villain, but I think the battle should take place on Earth. Like he's fucking around with the ring.
And that was the problem with the first Green Lantern movie. Was a lot of that movie took place in space, and it didn't really like.
There was no Earth established.
There's hardly like a good Earth establishment, and so like we couldn't really connect to it that well. So fucking no.
I just wanted to be like maybe you have a ring villain, like maybe Atrocitus, the Red Ring leader. Yeah. He's been following Abin Sur this whole time, and he's just like, Jordan, that ring doesn't belong to you. I'm pissed. Let's fight.
We gotta move on.
Yeah, I know.
DC movies. I hope they get better. Possibly get rebooted. I think there's room for improvement.
There's room to fix, but all in all, I think they missed a lot of great points that it would be.
They could have done so much better.
Yeah.